All right, so today we're going to be solving systems of quadratics. So now the first few we're just going to do substitution. So remember, since y equals y here, I can just substitute this equation into this spot and make them equal to each other. And then we'll just be solving a quadratic. And I have not done these yet, so if there's a math mistake, I apologize ahead of time. Whenever there's a quadratic with an x squared and an x, you have to get it to equal 0. So I'm going to move these over. So I have x squared minus 3x plus 2 equals 0. I'm going to factor this. Factors of 2 to get negative 3. So my x's are 2 and 1. So I'm going to plug each one individually. So I'll plug it in here because it's easier. So 2 plus 1 is 3. So 2, 3 is 1 point. Plug in 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So what you just solved here is you had a quadratic and a line. So you see it hits 2 times. A quadratic line doesn't have to hit twice, but it could. You could have it where they hits right here. So it only hit 1 time, and you could have one where a parabola points up and the line's down here, and then they would never hit each other. But this one right here, it hit twice. So number 2, think for a second what you would do on this one. And if you said set these two equal to each other, then you would be correct again. So we're going to have negative x squared. I'm moving everything to the right side because I hate my x squared being negative. So let's see, we get 0 equals. 6's will cancel for me. Add that over. I have an x squared minus 4x. Factor out your x. So we get 0 and 4. Plug them in here. 0 plus 6, and then 4 plus 6. This one would be another one setting them equal to each other, so you can do that. Let's see, I'll try to do it real quick. See if I can. Wait, I can pull out a 2x. So if you do a bunch of work for number 3 on your own, I try to do a whole bunch in my head real quick. You should get these 2 answers if you want to try that one on your own. All right, so one like number 4, I would go ahead and just solve for one of the variables, and then I'm going to plug it in. So this would be easiest to just add my 2x over, and then I'm going to substitute that in to the spot right there. So I have negative 3x squared plus the 2x squared. And remember, the whole 2x is squared. That's why I put a parenthesis around it. So you have to write that as 4x squared. Don't write it as 2x squared. Combine like terms. X equals plus or minus 3. So I'm going to go ahead and plug it into this easy solved equation right there for me. So when it's 3, we get out 6. Negative 3, I get out negative 6. All right, this one, it's going to be easier for me to solve it for x. So I'm going to go ahead and just solve that for x. And I'm going to plug that into what my x equals right there. And then this time you're going to end up having to FOIL out this parenthesis. All right, so you see how this whole thing's in squared? So you're going to have to FOIL it out. That means write it twice, you guys, and actually multiply out first, outer, inner, last. Hold on a second, sorry. I lost my train of thought. You should get a 9y and a 9y. That's why I end up with 18y. I'm going to subtract that over, combine these two. So I can put a 2y. So I get 0 and negative 9/5. Plug that in. I plug in 0, I get out 3. Negative 9/5. I'm going to grab my calculator because I'm lazy. So 3 times negative 2.4. Those are answers. When you get one like number 6, do you see there's only a y squared and a negative y squared? So on these problems, I would want to try to eliminate them. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add these equations up. I'm going to get 3x squared. The y's will cancel. And you add your numbers. And then you subtract this over so it's equal to 0. Divide out your 3. So now it's factors of negative 6 get negative 1. So negative 3 and a positive 2. So I get 3 and negative 2. So you plug this in. I'm just going to plug it in the bottom one because there's less numbers to have to plug into there. So you get 2 times 9 minus y squared equals 10. Negative y squared, that would be 18. So that's negative 8. So y would equal plus and minus the square root of 8, which is, 2 square root of 2. So when I plugged in 3, I got out 2 radical 2, and I got out 2 radical negative 2 radical 2. When I plug in negative 2 up there, I'm going to end up with 2 times negative 2 squared minus y squared. So that's 4. 4 times 2 is 8. This time when I subtract it over, divided by a negative, y squared equals a negative 2. That's imaginary, and since these are where the two lines intersect, we don't do that one because they won't intersect at imaginary lines. So go ahead and pause and try to do number 7 on your own, and then you can unpause it and you can see the work that I did for it. I should have plugged those in the other equations. Whatever, it's the same thing though, sorry. So your answers should have been negative 4 and negative 1.